Crosstalk, the unintentional transfer of signals between communication channels, a casual conversation.
Alright, hello world, this is Videogame Crosstalk episode 016, the monthly podcast of gamers talking about tech, science, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm your host, Anthony Rossi, and with me this week is effects artist from Gearbox Software, Ash Lyons. Ash, thank you for wow, I'm already butchering my speech. Excellent. Thank you for joining me.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. And we were just talking momentarily before we started recording. Something that you and I actually have been joking about a little bit over Twitter leading up to this, the joys of having a toddler and infant son.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a little bit of a hiccup. We've getting this recording started. But it's just the joys of fatherhood, basically. Your son came in, and if I'm reading the Twitter message correctly, he ran in and turned off your computer.
Yeah, he recently discovered, about a week or so ago, he discovered the power switch under my desk. It's got this bright red light on it, to turn off everything. And he sees it and goes, "Oh," click, and it's like, sweet. And the first time he did it, I was working on something, and all of a sudden, like, my computer just goes out. I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? And I look down, and my son's playing under my desk. He just gives me this smile, like, hey, look what I did. And I'm like,
yes, the biggest smile because he just accomplished something.
Right. And then the best part is I turn my computer back on. I'm like, Alex, don't do that. And he looks at me, and then 5 minutes later, he hits my reset button on the machine.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, all right, no more playing under Daddy's desk.
Yeah, that might get a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Both for the computer and for you, if you don't cut it out. Love you, son, but don't turn off Daddy's computer while he's working.
Like, please, save often.
Yeah, we're going to crank up that autosave to every 2 minutes.
Right.
Oh, man. So yeah, that's fun. People have been following this podcast for a while. I kind of realize it. If you're a regular listener here, you've been pretty much hearing my son grow up as I've progressed. We are now 16th episode. My son is now 9 months old. He is borderline ready to crawl. He's
nice.
doing the thing. Yeah, he's doing the thing where his hands, arms, and legs are in motion, but not in the right order.
Mm.
So
like the rocking back and forth thing.
Right, he's rocking back and forth a little bit. He's like propping himself up, but he's like, if I'm going to use a car hydraulics reference, he's tipping on 3 right now.
Okay.
And I'm like, you got to extend the leg, buddy. And then he'll extend the wrong leg. Like, oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm telling you, man. Once they start crawling, I know you've heard this before. They say it's like, oh, it's a whole new world, and it really is, because when my son first started crawling, my wife and I put up this little gate in our living room so he could kind of crawl around our living room, and we would know that he's in our living room.
Okay.
But then he learned that he could just push the gate over, then just crawl past it. And it's like, okay, well, now that's a whole new thing we got to worry about.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm looking around our house already, or have been for the past months, and we've been saying oh, we should probably hide these DVDs, or we need to get a new entertainment center that has doors on it or something like that.
Yeah.
And we really do, for real. For real, we need to
right.
get these taken care of.
When the son starts crawling, he'll just come back with something in his hand, and you're like, where did you find that? I haven't seen that in 6 months.
Yeah, we have 2 dogs in the house. Every once in a while, the dogs will pop in while I'm recording, and I'll say, "Oh, I have one of my audio assistants with me," uh, and they lose stuff under the couches and chairs and coffee table all the time. We have a like a meter stick or a yardstick underneath our coffee table in our living room, and that is specifically for retrieving, balls and or chunks of whatever they've been playing with and or whatever else they might have been tossing around and rolled underneath something. So between 2 dogs and a now infant, I want to throw my hands up and concede.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. What kind of dogs do you have?
We have a pity mix. Her name is Kinsey. She likes to come up and visit me while I'm working in the office. And the other one, Sophie, is a Weimaraner, which, if you're not familiar with the breed, they kind of look like somewhere between a greyhound and a black lab or chocolate lab.
Okay.
So somewhere between that, and they are super hyper neurotic to the point where, what's that?
They're nice.
Oh yeah, they're great. Oh,
Yeah.
she's so loving. She is so loving, but like she's an alarm barker, so she'll bark at everything and anything. And it's kind of funny. Two hilarious things about her is that if she's barking at something out the window or like something has her attention, her eyes get so big and so like wild-eyed. Like you can be calling her,
Yeah.
and it's like the third person. Sophie isn't here right now. It's just wide. Her ears are perked forward, and she's giving these like smaller barks leading up to a larger one. So it's like you just deal with it. It's just part of the breed. To the point where on her last vet appointment, the vet said, "All right, well, Sophie's her health-wise, she's doing fine. She's a little neurotic, but she's a Weimaraner, so there's nothing we can do about that."
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. All right, just come out and say it.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I've
and
got 2 dogs also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What you got?
I have a poodle Shih Tzu mix and a poodle. It's a Peekapoo, so it's a poodle
Okay.
mix. And the little poodle Pekingese mix is about 3 pounds, so
Jesus.
she's just adorable.
Right.
And the other poodle Shih Tzu he's neurotic also. He's got like anxiety issues.
Oh, geez.
So where like if my wife or I leave the house, he'll sit in the window and whine. Like you can hear him like
Aw.
3 blocks down. He's just
Jeez.
like, I'm like, oh my god, we're coming back, dog. Like chill out.
Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. Oh, yeah. Our Weimaraner, if we go outside to like work in the front yard, working on something in the lawn, or just meeting with one of our neighbors or something, she'll be fine. But then all of a sudden she'll see us and then start barking up a storm, and we're like, "Thank you for alerting us that we are in the front yard."
Well, you got to
Crazy,
think
crazy.
about it. You got a great alarm system, so if anyone tries to break in, you just
If
someone's here.
Yeah, it breaks my heart a little bit knowing that she's already 9 years old, so she's getting up there in age a little bit. But I would kind of joke with my brother, saying how if this dog was still around when Jacob became a teenager and he ever tried sneaking in the door at 1 a.m, it's just not gonna happen. It's like he just has no chance at all.
Yeah, he'll be like sneaking in the window, like throwing meat, like in the
Yeah,
like in
right.
the spy movies.
As long as she's chewing, she can't bark.
Yeah.
My son Jacob is his name. He'll be stopping at like the local grocery store before coming home, the 24-hour grocery store. All right, hold on, guys. I gotta stop and grab a steak. Trust me, I see it in the movies. It works.
Yeah. I swear.
Oh man. Oh, and I have too many thoughts going through my head right now. I apologize for the excitement and then immediate silence after I speak. But something I've been wanting to joke with you about a little bit. I don't think I had a chance to speak about this on my podcast. 2 things kind of like came together in mind. First, you've been trying to get your mother to play Battleborn.
Yeah.
How is that going?
Oh man, that was fun. So
Yeah, story time.
She liked Battleborn. Like when she saw the trailer, she was like, "Oh, I like the little cricket guy, Marquis, the
Okay.
robot." She thought he was a cricket, and I'm like, "No, that's a robot, Hunt." I was like, sorry, I said honey. I'm so used to talking to my wife. I was like, "Mom, that's a robot," and she's like, "Oh, well, I like him. He's cool." So finally, she just came to visit a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I go, Mom, you wanna play this game? She's like, Yeah, I'll try it. And she's never played a video game, like with the controller and 2 sticks.
Okay.
And she's going through the tutorial level, like the first level you play.
Okay.
She lasted about 5 minutes before the real robots killed her. I'm like, wow, this is going to be a lot more difficult than I thought. I mean, she had a great time.
Excellent.
But she's that player who's standing in the corner, like staring down at their shoes, firing a gun. Yeah.
So is she a gamer at all? Because a first-person shooter is not exactly something to jump into your first round.
Oh yeah. She does, like the typical tablet games, or she'll play word games and things like that. But nothing that's like she'll do like Candy Crush type of thing.
All right.
But no type of video games or at all. She was, she's a little too old for that, I guess. That's what she would say.
Well, it's a lot to process. I mean, like you and I and people right around, like the millennial and little Gen X, we grew up with video games.
Right.
All these, we witnessed the analog to digital conversion as far as electronics are concerned. And recently I posted on Twitter that I've realized that I have been gaming longer than some of my coworkers have been alive. So it's a long time. But with that, holding a controller and looking at a screen, a video screen, with my thumbs doing something completely different than what you would associate with movement. Like if I want to walk forward and look to the left, my thumbs just do that automatically.
Or that's the thing. I mean, do you remember when that control scheme like just even first came out?
I'm trying to think of where it would have been, because like Super Nintendo was the monster in the market.
Yeah.
Destroyed Sega. Even as Judge Greg and I have joked a few times, blast processing. But as we move past the 16-bit into the 32 and 64, I think, was it the N64 that brought in the first analog stick?
Yeah, because I believe so. Like I remember, and I could be wrong, and most of the times I am, but it was GoldenEye. I think was when, at least I remember first having to use a joystick.
Yes.
Or at least having to use like a joystick and your thumb to fire and
for an actual stick. Yeah.
And all that.
I'm trying. Wow, I mean, obviously I played a ton, just like every other kid around that time. Just so much GoldenEye, and I can't remember if that was a dual analog stick or not. I don't think it was.
GoldenEye wasn't.
Because I don't think the controller. I'm trying to remember what the controllers looked like.
Yeah, it was. Well, the N64 had the one joystick in the middle, and then it had the D-pad.
Okay, so we must have been using the D-pad for. Yeah. Okay.
And it had that one control scheme where you could use the D-pad and the analog stick together as like look left and right, and then move forward and back.
Okay.
So I would say that's almost like a precursor, I would say, to the double joystick, to the dual joystick.
That's about as close as we're gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know, because I had a buddy of mine. This is bringing this back now. I had a friend of mine who always he used that control scheme where it was the D-pad forward and back, and then he looked left and right with his right hand. Or he used the joystick, and we're looking. I'm like, dude, how do you do that? He's like, I don't know. It's just easier.
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. That's natural. I mean, he obviously he destroyed us every time we played GoldenEye because it was his system.
Right. Okay.
But yeah. But it's so funny that, like, because I never really think about how long that control scheme has just been in circulation. It's just kind of like the default now.
Oh, it's so ingrained
Yeah.
in like every FPS at this point. You know, and offhand, I don't even know what it is. I just do it. Is it the left thumb that's movement and the right thumb
Yeah.
that's look? I think it is.
I think it's yeah, left thumb or right thumb is look around and left thumb is forward back and strafe left right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You just do it at this
Right.
point.
It's like just
Wow.
ingrained in us. Like, yeah,
Right.
pick it up, go.
Yeah, Halo,
Yeah.
obviously now Destiny, Borderlands, any first-person shooter, Call of Duty and Battlefield, they all use the same scheme, and like the right trigger is always fire, left trigger, well, left trigger is sometimes aim, and that's where like the controls begin to fall apart depending on the game or and what they're doing. I think some of them, sometimes it's like the right stick you have to click if you use a controller for aim or look down the scope or something like that. But
Yeah.
for the most part, that's pretty much how it is. All right, cool. So you, you got your mom playing Battleborn. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun time. I mean, she didn't play for very long. She may play for like 10 minutes, and then it was just like she was like, "All right, I got the idea. I'm done." But I mean,
Yeah.
but it was just funny because she's like, "How do I jump?" And then I'm like, "Mom, press that button." And then she goes, "Well, what if I use the keyboard and mouse?" I go, "No,
No.
that no, that's gonna confuse you even more."
Yeah, right. Well, I bring that up because I recently had like a breakthrough with my mother regarding video games, and if she listens to this podcast, she might get mad at me, but whatever. It's hysterical. So for the most part, my family just kind of tolerates my gaming obsessions and enthusiasm. But as games have kind of matured, I've tried to bring out certain aspects of gaming where, to show like, listen, it's not just, Centipede or Asteroids anymore. We've come a long way as far as like storytelling and just the representations of, or just the visual representations of things and the themes that are discussed. So there's so much more. But again, if you're on this podcast and you're listening to this podcast, it's a whole lot of preaching to the choir. So so moving on from there, my mother also loves going to like the opera at some of the local theaters in town. Yeah, she loves like live performances, and she'll a few theaters here in New York, they bring a lot of off-Broadway shows around, so she likes to go to those. And personally, there is nothing like a live performance of like any genre. So even musical theater and the symphony we've hit up a few times, especially if it's one of those like local city symphonies where it's like, free day on whatever, family, I'm like, sure, let's go do something to do, and you get an evening of quality music for cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway, on Mother's Day, the act called Video Games Live came to Springfield, Massachusetts, which is about an hour and a half drive.
Okay.
And are you familiar with Video Games Live?
No, I'm not.
Okay. If it ever comes anywhere close to you, go.
All right.
It's a creation of Tommy Tallarico, video game composer. He's been in the industry for years, and he has rewritten video game music to accommodate a full orchestra.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
It is amazing, and there's video all over the place. And he'll do everything from like Mega Man and like Sonic the Hedgehog, and then he'll move through, and like at this concert in particular, some of the other games, Street Fighter actually has some pretty cool music if you compose it properly. Donkey Kong Country, God of War.
Oh, I love the God of War soundtrack. I used to work out to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So, and then later on they move into like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
And their final act is like all the super ones, like the Halo 2 theme.
Okay.
The Final Fantasy, Skyrim, and Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross.
Man, that sounds epic.
It is amazing. And my mother, like, she accepted just because, like, I pitched the idea to her, and she's like, "All right, yeah, sure, that'll be fun. You know, I'm spending time with my son and going to." I said, "We're going to the symphony, mother."
Yeah.
But she loved it so much. Oh, and while they're playing, they play gameplay footage on the big screen behind the orchestra. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
It was so much fun. And here's the part that my mother may get mad at me for sharing. She went like not full groupie at the end, but like halfway. After the show, they were talking about how they were having an after party at a hotel across the street, and it's like 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
And we still have an hour and a half to drive home. And she looks at me and says, "Anthony, they're having an after party at the bar across the street." And I'm like, "No, mother. We have to go." So we make our way back to the car, and we need to like spin around the theater to get back onto the main drag to get to the highway. And as we're behind the theater, we see like the orchestra members and staff members kind of crossing the street to get to whatever other spots they need to get to. And there goes Tommy, crosses right in front of my car.
Wow.
My mother rolls down the window and yells out, "Great show, Tommy!" And I'm like, "Mother!"
Oh, that's awesome, man.
That is, I'm like, I am so happy right now. I am so happy that you had that much fun coming to a concert of video game music. That just made my night in its entirety.
Yeah, dude, that's great because then you can be like, hey, did you like this? If you like this song, you should like kind of like give her some old albums of some other video game music, and she's like, maybe you like
right?
this, you know. And then,
That's basically what it's coming down to.
yeah.
And the entire like drive back, we're talking about other aspects of video games and how they. And I'm like getting deeper into things because I'm an overthinker for everything. I dive way too deep into things, and I'm talking about like the psychological techniques that they use in certain storytelling, like with the BioWare games. How they dip real deep into certain trends and aspects of society and whatnot, and there's a lot of like really deep conversations. And she asked about how this one game that my brother and I play quite a bit called Destiny. So what's that all about? Story time. and that was the whole. Go ahead.
No, I was like, it's well, I mean, it's like going back how you're talking about like they were playing all sorts of different video game music. I mean, if you ever just sit down and listen to the OSTs or the ODSTs of I think I got that right.
The OST. ODST is a Halo game. Orbital Drop Shock Troopers. You're thinking original soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, but I mean, that's the thing. If you listen to those soundtracks, they're like amazing. I mean, the Horizon Zero Dawn soundtrack, awesome.
Oh, I haven't heard that one yet. I need to check it out.
Yeah. Even like Halo, you can listen to that.
Oh,
God of War, we had mentioned. I mean, they have composers and orchestras and just crazy stuff behind some of these video games. You're just sometimes you'll just sit and listen to the music and just forget you're playing the game.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
At one point, I have a Pandora station that's just video game music.
Right.
And it's great because it's basically orchestral, is what it is. It's orchestral music. I mean, any modern game, any AAA modern game at this point is using, unless you're doing some type of dubstep action or something like specific for the mood of that game, it's going to be a full orchestra playing the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So, just had to share that. As soon as I saw, after we had confirmed that you'd accept to come on to this podcast, I see you getting your mom to play video games. I'm like, oh, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Got to get that in there real quick. So, before we continue nerding on about video game music, which, I mean, maybe another episode, we can do that. Effects artist at Gearbox. So, what exactly is FX? Because I'm coming from this as a fan, an enthusiast, if you will, of the digital arts and what's not. But So what is your title, and what is it that you do in the design process?
Okay, so my title is officially just a VFX artist.
Okay.
Um, I've been at Gearbox a little over 3 years now,
Okay.
and I came in working on Battleborn. So Battleborn was my first game at Gearbox.
All right.
And as far as VFX, what the VFX artist does is a lot, really.
Okay.
I mean, not to play down, like the animation team or the tech guys or any of the coders or anything like that, because that's another area of expertise that is just, blows my mind also. But the effects guys, we're kind of the last rung. Like, it's like us in audio. We're like the last rung in the ladder of development.
Okay.
So what we typically do is we go in and we kind of jazz up the scene, make the characters pop a little bit more. We just we add all the kind of pizzazz, I would say,
All right.
like to the game. And a lot of it is things that you don't even notice. I'll say like for example, there was a part, something we were working on where I'm not sure if this shipped or not, but it was an effect where when a player, when they were stepping on some of the steps, the steps would kind of like move down a little bit, kind of like they were hovering.
Okay.
And that was all driven by effects. It wasn't, like animation didn't work on that. It was just a straight up material trick. And I can't remember if it shipped or not, but that was something that we had done, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I figured for the most part. It's a
Yeah.
lot of the things that I want to say, if it goes unnoticed, that might actually be a good thing, because
Right.
it just kind of flows with what's happening on screen and what you expect to feel and how you would expect the camera to move. Is that a fair statement?
A little bit, yeah. Like, we don't do so much camera movement, unless it's
Okay.
like a camera shake. Like if there's an explosion and then you see a little bit of camera shake, sometimes that's either us or like animation might do that. Um, but it's yeah, like there's a lot of material trickery that will go into like certain characters. Like if you see like something jiggling on a character, like if they have a little antenna and
Okay.
and it needs to be live. I would like quote live, so when the character moves around, it needs to like the antenna needs to jiggle with the character movement. Sometimes that's an effects thing, or like animation will just model the antenna, and then effects will come in and kind of make it jiggle. So things like that.
So, so working on Battleborn, how does the assignment of duties work? Are you assigned to a specific list of characters or character, or are you assigned like you're going to be handling this type of effects? I'm stretching for words right now because
I get it.
it's all exciting and new to me. So,
Yeah. Well, I'll say well, the way it worked for Battleborn is we would get assigned a character. Like for example, I was working on Isaac. I worked on Sun Priestess, Benedict, Pendles, and Beatrix.
okay.
So like I was doing all those. And so we'll just get a big list of kind of like this, not necessarily a list of effects, but like a list of attacks, and like we'll be given the like we'll be given a big concept sheet of kind of like what the design team wants the character to look like, what the effects should look like, things like that.
Okay.
And then it's for us, it's more of like a guide. It's like, hey, here's a big list of things, and here's how we want them to look. And then we'll look at that and go, all right, how can I make these look cool in game? How can I make this character awesome?
Okay.
And then that's kind of where we take it. Like I'll say here's a good example. Are you familiar with Beatrix in Battleborn?
I played a little bit of Battleborn. Give me a
Okay. Um, Well, Beatrix was the last DLC character that we had put out,
Okay.
and she has this big giant syringe for an arm, and in the syringe,
Good lord. Yeah, I'm looking at character art right now. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So that was the last character that I was given, and the the designer is like, hey, we want to have the liquid in Beatrix's syringe. We want to have that slosh around, and animation, you can't really do that uh, with with the animation because the character needed to move left and right, and it's hard to like figure out where the liquid's going to go with the animations and have it link up and be smooth and all that. So,
Mm.
so they're like, well, effects will fix it. Effects will do
Jeez.
it.
All right. Kick that stone down the road a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it's funny. A lot of the times, it'll come down to, oh, effects will make it look good, and we're looking at them like, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to do this? But we usually we typically figure it out.
Hmm.
But so
Darn
when
it.
yeah, so like when I was doing Beatrix, I remember I was like racking my brain against the wall about how I was going to make this liquid kind of splash around and do things when the character moved, and luckily I was took me about a month and a half to figure it out, but I got it accomplished. I mean, I even got the liquid to change color whenever she fired certain attacks off in her ultimate,
Oh,
and it would
nice.
change, it would turn purple and things like that. And frankly, it just came down to me playing a lot of video games within that month of just watching how other games did liquid.
Hmm. I like to assume that I am educated in the ways of science, and I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of like how the physics would work as like you move forward or you swing your arm a certain way, and what wall of the syringe it would slosh
yeah.
against.
That was that that took a lot of math in my head.
Yeah,
And
and I,
I mean, if you looked at the material chain of how I got that liquid to work, it looks like it's a giant spider web of
okay.
nodes connected to
And
each
so,
other. I mean,
and what was that? Material chain? Is that the term you
yeah.
used? Okay, so explain that for me, please.
So we use the Unreal Engine
Okay.
for our games. If you ever look at the way materials work in the Unreal Engine, it's a bunch of nodes that are connected to one another to kind of make the magic happen, so to speak.
Okay.
In order for me to get the way in order for me to get the liquid to move the way I wanted it to, I had to basically connect a bunch of math.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that's I
No,
mean that's the best way that I can explain it.
hey,
It
let
was
it. You know, it's one of my like personal pet peeves when people say like they don't need math because I'm just gonna end up doing this job. Well,
yeah.
first off, later in life you don't know what job you're going to be getting into, so slow that down
Oh
real
yeah.
quick. And say like, oh well, I'm going to be a computer coder, working in programming. It's like there's a lot of math in that. There's a
Right.
lot of math in computer programming, and being an animator or in this case, a visual effects artist. Yeah, you have the word artist in your job title, and here you are talking about how much math you had to
Well,
use
yeah,
to
and
get
that's
this going.
yeah, and that's one of the crazy things about just VFX in general, because I have very little experience with visual effects in like film or
Okay.
television and all that. But I mean, I dabble. Like when I first started in the business, I was doing visual effects for advertisements, like the nothing you would see on TV. It was just kind of like trade show ads where,
Hmm.
we would have like a washing machine would be doing like an ad for a washing machine, and my company would ask me, hey, we're going to need to put water in this washing machine, have that splash around, or we need to have a bunch of stuff break apart for this animation, things like that. So that was my experience. Very 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 little as far as with
Okay.
uh, pre-rendered animations and all that,
Yeah,
or
because
pre-rendered effects.
yeah, the few trade shows that I've been to, you probably don't need anything all that real. If
Right.
it's just going to be it's water splash around in a trade show video
Yeah.
for a washing. All right,
But yeah, but
but
even
this, yeah,
that,
go ahead.
there- there's so many. like numbers and like just things you like inputs that you have to look at for certain um, for the certain software you need. Because even though it's like you said, like even though the artist is in our name, a lot of it is so technical to where it's kind of like half artist, half mathematician.
Right.
That makes sense.
No, it does. And that's the thing. It does, just because you need to, strike some creative inspiration to figure out or to decide. I'm guessing I'm like trying to infer from what I've heard so far, some creative inspiration to make these things look, quote, cool, end
Right.
quote, and then to actually pull it off. Like all the math that's involved. I have a background in AutoCAD drafting.
Okay.
And a joke we used to throw around is an architect's dream is an engineer's nightmare. So like I'm sensing a little bit of parallel in that concept where but you're actually playing both roles where here's an effect or a visualization that I want to make happen in these instances. Okay, I have the concept in my head. Now I need to actually make the thing work somehow.
Exactly, and it's kind of one of the crazy things about visual effects is we have so many people will come into visual effects from different backgrounds. Like we'll have people who never went to art school but went to school for like computer like coding or
Mm-hmm.
something like along those lines, or like computer science, and they'll get into visual effects and be great visual effects artists, but they have no art background. But they understand the software very well. And they know what numbers to put in to make the smoke look real. They know exactly how to make fire look like fire because they know exactly where to input certain numbers. Where on the opposite end that you have me, like I went to school for sculpture, so I have a literal
Really?
sculpture degree.
Well then,
Yeah.
all right.
And because like when I graduated, I wanted to be either a gallery artist or I wanted to be a modeler, like a 3D modeler. So that's kind of where that sculpture degree went into.
Okay.
But when I realized that I was only average with my 3D modeling, like I'm not bad, but I'm not great.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to break into the industry, which side note is kind of one of the bittersweet things I need to tell are like up and coming like graduates who come to me and say, how do I get into the industry? What do I need to do? And sometimes you tell them, well, what do you want to be? Or you ask them, what do you want to do? They go, oh, I want to be a modeler, because a lot of people want to be modelers because they see these really awesome characters in video games. They see these really dope looking characters on TV,
Okay.
and, like 3D animations, and they go, I want to do that. And you have to tell them, well, are you as good as the people modeling at ILM? Like, are you as good as the people modeling for Pixar? And if they can say, yes, I am as good as them, then it's like, go, do it right now, apply. But if they're like, well, I'm okay, it's like, come on, man, here's the tough reality. You're competing with that. Like, that is, you just graduated, that is now your competition. Unless you can get up to that level, you need to start small and when I realized that, I was like, well, I'm okay at modeling, but I'm not great.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at visual effects because I also enjoyed blowing stuff up digitally. I was like, man, because I took a course in like when I was in college, I took this small 3ds Max course, and they one of the sections was on just visual effects and like kind of just making small particle systems, and I was like, this is awesome. This is like, I love this. And then I ended up going to grad school for visual effects, and that's where kind of my career took off. Because once I graduated, I started small, like I said, with the trade show stuff, and then that kind of blossomed into getting into video games. But what was I talking about?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I said,
sorry, I just went off on a tangent.
Videogame Crosstalk. Videogame Crosstalk loves its tangents. Well,
Yeah.
and I'm making tangents over to my own like history where I think I mentioned this on previous episode. I used to do a little bit of like booking and promoting in our local music scene as like a side gig. I loved it, absolutely loved it. But just that little bit. I'd always been friends with band members of like various bands of various genres, and I have known some amazing, phenomenal musicians that don't have a snowball's chance in hell of ever making some type of actual living off of their music, because anything that is art related, like what you're doing is a digital art, but it's still art. And
Yeah.
unless you're doing some type of like commission work or some type of corporate, like for advertisements, you're not going to be making money on your art if you're trying to go any type of pure art.
Right.
And to get to that top level, like there are only so many high-end studios or companies. So you have a total of like, or your 5, say even 10 big name studios. Those 10 studios have a finite number of modelers that they're going to hire.
Oh yeah.
And once that number is filled, that's it. And there are way more people going to art school than there are positions of that caliber.
Right.
So that can be applied across all sorts of different industries. So it's you're right to tell them, like, if you're not at that level, reevaluate if need be.
Oh, yeah.
And, as far as you're concerned, I mean, find something you enjoy. Go ahead.
And that's the thing, because I mean, sometimes I'm even tempted to tell people, like whenever we go out to colleges and we give talks or just
cool.
People just will like email or just ask me in general. I'm like, look, maybe you should look into visual effects, because there's a lot of people looking for good VFX artists, and there aren't that many out there. There's a lot of VFX artists, but sometimes you go somewhere and like, we need X, Y, and Z visual effects artists, and you're like, well, I'm Y, and they go, next.
Yeah, yeah. That's another thing. Bouncing around jobs in the past few years, I learned what the modern job search process is like.
Yeah.
And if there are any young people listening to this, if you have anyone telling you to write an objective at the top of your resume, seek help elsewhere. No one cares about your dreams and aspirations. No one cares. That is the hard truth. The hiring manager or the HR rep that you're in contact with have their marching orders as far as, this is the skill set that we're looking for this particular project, or to fill this particular void in our talent pool or workforce. This is what we're looking for. If you do not have these skills, we are not interested in what your future 5-year plan is for your career development. That's just cold.
Dude, and even writing a resume is an art form of itself.
Say that again?
So writing a resume is its own art form.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you make sure you have 0 errors in that resume.
Because I mean that's another thing, because I've had resumes come across my desk where like we're asked to look at it, and then you have maybe 2 or 3 a day, 4 or 5, 10, and like depending on your position. And if you're busy, or if you're just looking at resumes all day, you get one bad resume, or one resume, you go to the website you don't like it for some reason, or the demo reel doesn't pop right up, you're like, next. I got 20 to look at today.
Yeah, you've got your own workload you need to handle. You've got a stack of other resumes you need to look at. And something I was told, consider from the hiring manager's point of view, if you have errors on your resume, this is supposed to be your best, perfect, most amazing representation of yourself.
Right.
If you can't be bothered to fix that typo, why do I want to hire you for contracts?
Exactly. And we've told people that so many times. We say, look, because with the way digital art is, it's very, where's your website? Like, if you don't have a website, no one's going to look at you. They don't.
Oh yeah.
People don't take CDs of your work anymore. I mean, even if you go to a trade show. Because I remember when I first started looking for a job, was when I graduated, so many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to shows, like trade shows, and I would go down and I would hand people my demo disc, like on an actual CD, and they'd go, thank you, and just drop it right into a giant bucket of hundreds of other CDs. And it's
Hey, that's the reality. That's the reality of it all. Ah. So, should we get into some tech news?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've been all right. Let's get into some tech news. Wow. Oh, and right on cue, one of my audio assistants. Hi, Sophie. Hi, puppy. Oh, I gotta give her some face rubs real quick. Okay. Yeah, let's get some tech news. First one up, we have Amazon patents, or Amazon patent tips underwater storage facilities. So, this is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Amazon, in their vast resources of everything imaginable, is applying for some type of patent in which it is entitled Aquatic Storage Facility, and we have one of those stereotypical patent hand sketches on the screen. This is from PC Magazine. And basically what they're doing is just a big vat basin of a system. But, yeah, let's go underwater. It's completely untapped. You know, it's free real estate. Well, maybe not free, but cheap real estate, I would imagine. Any thoughts on this?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, if there's room in the ocean, go for it. I mean, might as well, right?
Right. You know, they've already, and of course, Amazon would do something like this because they've already been experimenting with drones. We know that.
That's what, like, when I first started reading the article, I saw like the drone delivery tower. Like that would be even. I mean that right there is a little bit more interesting to me than the aquatic one, because the drone delivery tower. You imagine just a bunch of drones flying around in 10 years. That would be crazy dope.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm flicked over to that. What do we have? I didn't get a chance to read through this one. Oh, no, great! It's a big mechanical hive of drones flying in and out. Yeah. That's the dystopian future we're going for.
No, I mean, I give it 10 years before Google or Amazon just owns everything.
Yeah, it won't be long until they own. I mean, Google's going to catalog and categorize and data mine every little thing, you know, that we do, and start with their predictive models. You know, we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. So, there you go. 2 stories for you. This one's from a little bit farther back, June 23rd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thinking about the way that this, I guess the underwater drone, or not, sorry, like the underwater storage, it almost makes you wonder. I mean, how, like, how, like, would it have the possibility to break? You know, it's just like, what would happen if it broke?
Oh, okay.
You know, that'd be like so much. Everything would be lost. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, I like this idea, but at the same time, it's crazy because how far will it go? Is, you know, are we going to just start populating the ocean floor with stuff now too?
It's, you know, and that's a legitimate concern. Truth be told, because as I just mentioned, like, well, you know, unclaimed real estate. Why not throw it underwater? Get it off the land. But is that a good idea? Do we want to start creating storage facilities, you know, in our ocean floors or wherever these are going to be located? Do we want to expand? Is it worthwhile for that extra storage space?
Yeah, it's like, I like the idea because it is a lot more storage, but then you got to think, how far will we take it? Like, hey, Amazon just built a bunch of storage facilities underwater. Hey, let's build some apartments while we're down there too.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get into the rapture, and it's how it starts. Yeah, it is how it starts.
Yeah,
starts with the Amazon, and then we have splicers from BioShock appearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so that's pretty crazy. Moving right along, Microsoft, the other tech giants of the world, wants to start giving rural America some online capabilities using TV signals. So this is interesting. normally to get access to the internet, no matter how you do it, you need some type of digital connection to something, anything.
Right.
Up here we have, was Time Warner Cable, it's now Spectrum, whatever corporate bureaucracy they want to buy out this time and whatever. But to access the internet, you need to your house needs to be wired, basically, somehow. So you need to have like a coax coming into your house, or you've got satellite. If you happen to have a satellite, in that area somewhere somehow. But one of the few things I learned while I was at ITT Tech before it immediately got shut down mid-degree program was a lot of your cell phone and communication signals never hit satellites. So it's like a little bit of a common misconception. You're not always tagging satellites to get access to the internet on your mobile phone. Sometimes you're just hitting off local communication towers and TV, essentially TV antennas, but the signal of your ones and zeros get translated a different way and handled a different way and get routed outward. So obviously you're fluent enough with computers for visual effects.
Yeah.
Have you dipped into much of the IT side of things?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Not at all. Like the most IT thing I've done was set up a couple of servers in my house so I can render stuff faster.
Oh, nice. There you go, buddy. So basically, there's FCC regulations into what bandwidths or signal strengths and protocols different levels of consumers can use, either residential consumers or governments or like large businesses. So there's just like radio, your FM radios operate at certain frequencies or within a certain band. Your shortwave, your AM works in within certain bands, and there's lists of this on the internet where you can find them out. But basically, the same way that your TV station, over-the-air TV stations work, your TV can operate within a certain range of frequencies, and each channel has its own, signal, obviously. Okay. But what they're talking about in this is that there's white space in between all of those, which is, more or less a buffer zone between ranges. And Microsoft is thinking, well, if no one's in there, mind if I slide through this?
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on this?
I like it. I mean, if I look at it as not everyone gets great internet, especially you hear about like people in the Midwest where get like crappy internet or it'll just drop, which is why a lot of people were upset about when the Xbox was online always.
Oh yeah,
type of deal. It's like, well, my internet sucks. Like, how am I gonna always be online? If this allows everyone to get a decent internet connection, let's do it. Because I mean, sometimes being wired doesn't work out. I mean, or even you've got the people who are in a certain housing zone where they only have one internet provider.
Right.
It's like, well, I have to use this one guy, or like I have to use this one company, and they're charging me an arm and a leg because they're the only people in town. And if I could get my Wi-Fi from somebody else, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and this actually kind of dips back into what you were talking about as far as having a website up. Yeah. The internet has become like a commodity. Everyone uses it at this point. Even for job applications, they're like your larger chain stores probably won't even have a pen and paper application. They'll just have, either fill this out online or go to one of these computers, over by their customer service desk and fill out an online application.
Yeah.
No one posts job openings in the newspaper anymore. Some people still get the newspaper at my office, and we kind of flip through, and it's like warehouse worker, and some other laborer. Which, I mean, this is not to degrade or talk down to our great skilled laborers. It's just that these are the only people that are left advertising in a newspaper. Yeah. Everything else is on some type of job search website. And if you don't have access to that, you are completely cut off from all sorts of job opportunities. If you want to get into anything that might have some type of digital aspect to it all, such as creating your own, what do you refer to? I don't want to say highlight reel, but to show off your talent.
Yeah.
Some type of online portfolio. If you're in this area that doesn't have, either sufficient internet signals or, an internet signal at all, you're at a huge disadvantage. So
right, it's like,
go for it.
You have to go down to the library and use their computer, and
which I'm sure is all sorts of not powerful.
Yeah.
So, I think it's exciting. So let's see if we can actually pull this off. I mean, I know it's all ones and zeros, but how many ones and zeros are they trying to cram through this white space?
Right. And I mean, as long as they make it affordable too. Like, you don't want to have like them coming out and it's like, hey, we got Wi-Fi internet for everyone, but the box is $600.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Actually mentions that. It says currently such devices cost over $1,000 each. Oi! But Microsoft believes it can get the figure to below $200. And that's assuming we can get a sub $200 access point for the white space. So sub 200, that's doable.
Yeah, that's doable.
It's still a stretch depending on what your income situation is like. I mean, let's not kid ourselves with that. It's still $200 is still $200.
Right. That's almost like that's basically a car payment for.
Right. And again, depending on what your cash situation is like, if you can't afford 200, you can't afford 200. But it's a starting point, and I don't know if it says if it's just a one-time payment, just like for the device, or I have to look into this. As I'm editing this, I'll see if I can search around and see if there's any additional information on this. Yeah. If it's just going to be like an over-the-air antenna where you pay for the antenna and you get access to TV stations, that type of thing, or if you need to actually pay for some type of service.
Yeah, like I would assume you buy the box, and then you might subscribe to the service for maybe $30 a month or something.
Something like that.
Much, however much the wireless would cost.
So, unfortunately, I was unable to find any type of pricing information. However, at the end of this article, it does state, and I quote, "Ultimately, Microsoft wants to be the company that makes it happen, but will leave the running of such services to local ISPs." So, in other words, it will be monitored by local ISPs and will not be just a one-time purchase the antenna deal. There will be additional monthly costs on top of this. So, if this ever develops, I'll be sure to keep everyone up to date. Alright, time for an Audible interlude. For you, the listeners of Videogame Crosstalk, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod and sign up for your free trial and download one of over 180,000 titles, such as Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, narrated by Will Wheaton. And if you've been paying attention to any of the Comic-Con information that just came out of San Diego, you would know that Ready Player One just received an amazing trailer for a live-action movie. Ash, did you get a chance to see this?
Yes, I did.
How amazing.
Yeah.
That stack of, I guess I'll just call them trailers. And what did they say? Like, Ohio is the fastest growing city or something like that? For the 40th year in a row? Oh my goodness. Overpopulation. Now, I have not been able to read Ready Player One, but basically, everyone in the gaming community that has read it has nothing but great things to say about it.
Yeah, I haven't been able to read it either. I just heard about it maybe two months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I heard about the movie was being made, I'm like, oh man, that sounds pretty cool.
Oh, but, yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. Yeah. If you're looking to see what this movie is going to be all about, go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod, and that could be your free audiobook. What do you think about that? moving on to some gaming and geekery. Unfortunately, I only do this podcast once a month, so there's a lot of lag between these stories coming out, but there's no way you can do any type of gaming podcast at all and not mention that the SNES Classic has been announced.
Yeah.
There's just no way. There's no two ways around that. And what amazes me about this is the game lineup that they have. It is amazing. Have you taken a look at this list?
Yes, I have, and I remember playing a few of these back in the day.
I have played more than a few of these. I was actually talking to a friend of mine at the office today. Basically, this is like the quintessential list of Super Nintendo games. The only ones I have not personally played on this would be Earthbound, the Kirby games, and Yoshi's Island. I'm not going to count Star Fox 2 because that was never released to begin with. Nobody's played that before except for the... And I've read some other article, even the developer of Star Fox 2 was like, what?
He's like, our game's out? Yeah, like, there was an article where they had they went out and had dinner. They celebrated.
Hey, it's been released, or getting released. So, yeah, I've played pretty much all of these games, and they are all amazing. They're all amazing. And the only difference, if anyone says like, oh, they should have had this game versus that game, that's solely a matter of personal preference. What were a couple of your favorite games off this list?
Well, I would say I love Star Fox. I remember, when a buddy of mine got that, and we all went over his house, played it for like all day and all week. We were just like, this game is awesome.
Yeah, and, the low polygon weirdness. Like, it's computer graphics.
Yeah,
on your Super Nintendo.
Cool. But I would say, out of the list, my favorite is definitely, it had to be Mario Kart, because my buddies and I would play that into all hours of the night. Like, we would stay at each other's houses. Mm-hmm. We would sleep over on the weekends and just play that thing until the sun came up.
Oh, yeah.
Like the battle mode, we would go nuts.
the original battle mode with your 3 balloons spinning around you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. They're using the feather to jump over the blue wall so to avoid the red shell. Yeah. Oh, man.
Rainbow Road, definitely. Like, I mean, I remember we played that so much. I could probably do Rainbow Road, like, with my eyes closed.
Yeah, right? On this, for me, this list, I mean, I never shy away from saying that Final Fantasy III. Okay, yes, it was Final Fantasy III here in the U.S. We understand that it's Final Fantasy VI in the entire series. All right, we know.
Yeah.
We know. So that's my
we get it.
Yeah, we get it. That's my favorite Final Fantasy of the series. But the only other RPG that would put in, like, that could possibly beat that would be the Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars.
I never played that one.
That was so good. It was totally in the spirit of Mario, and I believe it was made by Square Soft.
Okay.
So before they became Square Enix, after they lost all their money making the Final Fantasy movie. So there's a lot of Final Fantasy aspects to it. There's a few references into their series. It is such a well-developed story. The combat system, it's still turn-based, but there's a few more added twists to it.
Okay.
But it was fun. It was fun above all else. So it is easily one of the best RPGs of that generation, like without a question. Okay. That and Secret of Mana. If you've never played Secret of Mana, that is something that you can do. It's basically an action RPG that you can play multiplayer. All
right, yeah, I never played Secret of Mana. I wasn't big on like RPGs when I was younger. I mean, I remember like my first RPG was Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Like that, like kind of like the main, I guess, like
that was a lot of people's entry point into the RPG genre. And I think it might have helped out because their item system was greatly simplified.
Right.
You had like a weapon and like an accessory.
Yeah.
I think that was it. You didn't have to worry about like the full suits of armor or combining different armor or swords with different shield combinations. So it was greatly simplified. So I think that made it much more accessible to people.
Oh yeah,
and plus the story was fantastic.
Oh yeah, plus it's like yeah, I mean, I remember playing it. It took me like 80, 90 hours to beat. In my mind and in my little kid brain, I'm like, wow, I got my money's worth out of this game. This took me a month and a half.
Yeah, so this list looks absolutely amazing, and I've got some other. Again, my show notes is a little bit old, but I mean, is it anyone's surprise that everyone's concerned about supply for this?
Oh, I know. I mean, it's like when the mini NES came out. When I remember, like, one of the guys I work with ended up getting it. Like, one of the guys in my office got it, and I was like, man, how'd you get this? He goes, well, I stood in line for a couple hours, and then they sold out, so I went to another store, stood in line there, and then they sold out. So I went back to the original store, and they got more in. I picked it up, and I was like, how long did you spend? He was like, oh, it probably took me about maybe 4 or 5 hours. It's like, oh, my God.
I know. And I just don't understand why you don't meet the demand.
I know. I mean,
I just don't like, if it's selling for that much above its like sticker price.
Yeah.
Then obviously it's in high demand.
Right.
I just don't.
And then they discontinued it.
Yes.
Like, why?
Why are you discontinuing this?
You could, like, it'll print money for you. Just
it's
put it out.
And on previous episodes, I've mentioned how I love Nintendo for being weird and doing weird things, but that's in their games.
Right.
Their games do the weird, obscene. Maybe not obscene is not the right word. Just the weird stuff.
Obscure.
Obscure. There we go. Okay, that works. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that they release enough of these things for people to get one, because that's it. Without going off on a tangent, like, I just hope they release enough so that the scalpers, well, not scalpers.
Well, yeah, scalpers.
Yeah, like,
that's basically what it is.
We're selling these things for like $600. Like, come on, man.
I know.
Like, what if I want to get one for my kid?
Well, and that's a legitimate concern, because people are just on there waiting, pounding the F5, waiting for it to go, and buy as many as they can right off the rip. And basically the only reason why you're not getting one is because you weren't also slamming F5 to get something, for your kid. And, let the free market ride and all that other fun stuff. But come on, this isn't proper access.
I know. It's like you're just being a jerk. Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
this has nothing to do with entrepreneurial spirit. This is manipulating the market for your own profit. So,
exactly.
Moving on. Next one, we have Netflix. It seems like I talk about Netflix every episode these days, these past few rounds. But they are taking on Metroid next. So they've already produced Castlevania. Did you get a chance to watch that?
I did.
I mean, I loved it.
I know. Well, that's the thing, because I didn't realize there was only 4 episodes. And
you and a bunch of other people.
I sat down one Saturday and was like, all right, man, I'm gonna check the season out. I got a couple hours to kill. It's like an hour and a half later, I'm going, where's the rest of it?
Wait, how come episode 5 isn't loading?
Yeah,
and they're only like 22, 24 minutes long a piece.
Yeah.
So when you say you've got a couple of hours to kill, well, a couple of hours, quite literally 2.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Like, oh man, like, well, what am I gonna do with the rest of my day? I was kind of.
Oh yeah, you've got your fat man pants on. You're ready to just lounge on the couch. Not moving today.
Made myself a sandwich.
Anyway, people loved it, and it's already been confirmed for a second season. So, good. And I think it's supposed to have like 8 episodes for Castlevania. Same guy, yes, Adi Shankar, is going to do Metroid next. And they're also going to make it a dark Metroid.
I'm down with that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we're going to get like a dark sci-fi, basically. And I think it's so beautiful that they decided to do Castlevania and Metroid. And Because I mean, speaking to, as I mentioned before, how I've been gaming for longer than my coworkers have been alive. For
Yeah.
for the younger generations, for the kids out there, there's a reason why they call that retro genre of the side-scrolling like puzzle tower the Metroidvania genre.
Yeah.
Those two games are the reason why. Obviously, the combination of the two titles into the genre
Yeah.
name, but the idea of going through a huge dungeon that's like part environmental puzzle while you take out enemies left and right, so instrumental in the development of games. And there's always like a great story behind them, but this was before any story really had to be explained.
Yeah, like a
In
lot of
game.
it was kind of in the background. You'd have to read it somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, as you go through the different dungeons and whatnot, is just okay. We're gonna do this themed level, and then this sewer themed level, and then
Yeah.
this outdoor themed level, and that was your progression through it all.
Yeah.
So if they can get the same feel or the same style out of a Metroid game, which should not be difficult because you're an explorer going into a dark planet to look, to seek out giant alien monsters. This should work.
Yeah. As long as they come out with more than 4 episodes.
Well, all right, to be fair, and there's also mention of Adi Shankar also taking on an animated Assassin's Creed project.
I'd love to see that.
Oh, that will work. And this all kind of like wraps up into the whole, what does it take to make a proper, either film or screen adaptation of a video game?
Yeah.
Because I think we're getting to the point where either you need to change the method or just abandon the video game movie.
Yeah, I think my opinion is that in with the video games, and far as kind of like animation, it's definitely a very good medium for video games because you can get away with a lot more when something's animated than you can in kind of like, I guess, real life.
Yes.
You can consider a movie like kind of real life because it's just you let a lot more go when you're watching a cartoon versus somebody
Alright.
who looks like Samus in a mech suit, who's like a real life mech suit, and they're running around versus someone who's just drawn and they're doing crazy flips and
Right.
things like that and shooting monsters when it's animated.
Yeah, your
So,
tolerance for
it's-
disbelief is
yeah.
much greater
Right.
when it's animated. I think that's why anime in general works so well because you can just, if you're flipping around in the air and unloading a lot of clips into an enemy mech, it's totally okay for you to just be suspended in the air firing your auto rifle with the speed lines going by you for a good like 8 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in live action, you need to be falling if you're in the air. You need to be
Yeah.
moving around. You can't just kind of hover there like with the anime speed lines.
Yeah. But,
Well,
but
that-
I mean, to live action's defense, I mean, there are some movies that can get away with it pretty well. I mean, I remember when The Matrix came out, everyone was like, okay.
Oh, that was mind blowing.
Yeah.
That was mind blowing. Few and far between. I'll
Right.
give it that.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm thinking maybe just if we're gonna go, and I don't want to make this a huge like video game movie discussion, but if you're gonna go for a video game movie, maybe don't go for one that has so much backstory to it.
Right.
Because you've got Assassin's Creed, for example. I'm so angry that you were the chosen one. There's so much backstory in that game series. You can't contain it to even 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Like, I would
You
almost
can't
say,
contain it.
yeah, like, I would say trying to, if I were a director and I had the power to make a video game movie, I'd go definitely with a Netflix series or just a series in general, like go to HBO or
Mhm.
something where I could tell a long story over
There you go.
plenty of seasons,
Right. And I think the episode format will work great because a video game itself is split up into multiple levels and
Right.
acts and chapters. So approach that with the same, repetition of story arcs with an actual animated series.
Right.
So I think this may be the method to for a screen adaptation of a video game. So,
Yeah, I'm excited.
Castlevania, proof of concept. I'll give
Yeah.
it that.
I mean, they knocked it out. They
Oh
knocked it
yeah,
out
they did.
with that one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to head into the final five now. This is the last segment of this podcast. These are 5 questions that range from irrelevant to irreverent. The first 2 are always the same, and the last 3 have a theme. Ash, are you ready for this?
Oh, of course, man. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right, first question. Coffee or tea?
I would say both.
Really?
Yeah, coffee in the morning. When I get to work, a lot of it's almost like I can't start my day unless I've gone through the routine of, getting the coffee bean and just kind of doing all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like my day is messed up if I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm working late, I'll typically, like if I'm working past midnight or something, I'll drink tea. Because one time I made the mistake of drinking coffee at night and I was tired and I went to sleep around 2 and my brain just wouldn't stop working.
Oh, man. So, like...
Yeah.
I've had that. Because I'm not a huge tea drinker, but I've had that happen where you're just dead tired and your body is asleep or wants to be, but
Right.
your brain is still ticking away.
Yeah, so you're just sitting there just staring at the wall like, come on, man, I need bed.
Oh man.
But yeah, don't drink tea or coffee at night.
Oh yeah. All right. Second question. Do you do any tabletop gaming?
Not anymore. I used to do. I played Monopoly with my wife sometimes.
Okay.
I did when I was a kid. I remember I had the Mech Warrior. I had the Mech Warrior game.
Ooh.
Yeah. But I mostly bought it because I liked the mech models and I
Okay.
wanted to play with those. And and it's a funny thing because I remember this story comes to mind about that. Where I bought the game because I was at my grandmother's house. And I didn't have anyone to play with, so sad story. Little Ashley played Mech Warrior by himself, but it was I enjoyed it because I had these little I had these little mech models, and I kept them, and I lost the game.
Ah.
But yeah, that was a long time ago. But no
That's
actual tabletop gaming. I would love to if I can ever have the time to get into it, but no, unfortunately. Yeah.
All right. All right, so right now your Twitter handle is literally unplayable, or at least that's what you got as your name right now. So the next 3 questions have to do with things being literally unplayable. So, question 3: were you unfortunate enough to quote play the ET game of Atari Legend?
I have not been. Have you
Neither
played it?
have I. No, never did.
Yeah,
Never
I'd
did.
like to.
Just
If I can get my
because
hands
at
on
this
it, just
point,
check it out.
I've heard the stories behind the development of that game where they had like, I don't know, like 6 weeks or something to like from concept to ship. Some
Wow.
ridiculous, yeah, like that whole thing was just, I mean, most games made after a movie are just blatant, auxiliary income.
Yeah.
It's just there's additional sales. They're not going to put much effort into the game. They're never anything that is like reviewed or reported on, other than just to do it if you're in like some big like publication or review publication. But like they're never any good. But this is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I would if I could have been a fly on the wall during that development cycle,
Oh man,
it would have been
you'd just
great.
be angry.
Yeah, just to see what happens. Like, man, how did? Like I said, I've never played it. I've only been able to read the stories, and it's just
Mhm.
like, you just want to know.
Right. All right. 4th question: have you ever had a game-breaking bug so bad that it forced you to rage quit the game and never play it again?
Um, Not that I can think of. I mean, there have been times where I've been playing a game, and I'll get to a part where it's just like really hard, and then I'm like, all right, I guess this is where I stop playing this game because I can't get past this part.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but then it's like, a couple days later I'll pick it back up and I'll beat that part and then I'll continue out the game. But I do have I would say there's a story where I was playing. This isn't a bug. This is just me being me.
Okay.
Uh, but there was a time where a couple months ago I was playing Wolfenstein, and this great game. I'm loving it. I get like 75% way through, and then one day my computer goes on the fritz, so have to reinstall. I have to reinstall Windows and all my
Oh
software and all
man,
that.
a proper
Yeah,
meltdown.
it sucked. And then so I load up Steam, I load up Wolfenstein, and come to find out the cloud storage isn't there.
Oh no.
So all my save games gone.
Oh no.
And at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going through all that again. I'll go look at the ending on YouTube. I was like, I can't play this game again. I don't have the time.
I have a similar story, and it's also a Bethesda game. Love Bethesda, love me some Elder Scrolls and Fallout, but it was Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I was playing on my 360, and I'm guessing about 75-80% the way through the game. I'm at the point where I need to like rally the different houses to support my cause type of thing, and the game, the campaign quest didn't trigger to progress.
Oh wow.
So I'm going to all these different houses and guilds, and I'm like, all right, this is who I need to talk to. I'm flipping through the in-game journal. I write everyone's name down on a separate piece of paper. I go visit all these different houses, and I'm crossing them off, physically crossing them off, pen and paper, one by one. I go back to the main quest giver, and he's like, "You need to go talk to these people." Oh my god. And it's an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
These are not short.
Oh, I know. I'm still playing Skyrim like 3 years later.
Oh, I know. That was so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my rage quit. Another small one, actually, in Oblivion. Oblivion? No, it was Skyrim. Yes, I play a few Elder Scrolls games. It's not so much a rage quit, just like a super frustration on my part.
Yeah.
I went through, and it's the only vanilla game achievement that I have not unlocked, and it's you need to acquire every Daedric artifact. There's one of them, a particular ring, I believe, where I completed the Daedric quest, but during this one sacrifice that you're supposed to interrupt, I was just being a jerk. I was like, let's see what happens. I decided to let the scene play out. So I got credit for completing the quest, but I never got credit for acquiring that Daedric artifact.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, I completed all the quests. I found the other like Elder Scroll. I did all these other one where you have to go get a blood sample of every elf race in the game. Okay, I did that. I completed them all. Why is this not popping for me? And flip through a few forums, and it turns out there's that one quest where you can complete the quest without acquiring the artifact.
Oh man, that's funny.
So
That actually reminds me of a quick story. Have you played Metal Gear Solid 5?
No, the Metal Gear is a series I have not played.
Okay, but
too many games, not enough hours in the day, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, well, yeah, you're familiar with like Quiet, right? And like that character. A guy I work with, I don't want to call him out by name, but he'll know who he is when I say this. So we were all talking about Metal Gear Solid 5, and there's a part, spoiler for Metal Gear Solid 5 if you haven't played it yet, where you find Quiet, and you're able to, once you beat her, you have the option to kill her.
Oh no!
Or you can either kill her or you can bring her onto your team. And he shot her. And so
oops.
The whole time it's like the whole time we're talking about having Quiet on our side and how awesome it is that she's a great sniper and all that. He's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you have Quiet on your side? I killed her." We're like, "What? What, dude? Serious?"
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
man.
was, yeah, it was pretty funny. And like, the whole time, he's just like, "What do you mean? Like that part was hard." I'm like, well, just have quiet, shoot everybody. He's like, "I don't have quiet. I killed her." Like, you get her
Oh,
back?
man.
No, you don't get her back.
No, you don't. Okay. Fifth and final question. Do you have any media for which you no longer have a player for?
Technically, yes.
What you got?
When I was in college, I was a DJ.
Okay.
As like turntables DJ, like proper scratching and all that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But when I graduated, I ended up moving, and I had to leave all my equipment at my parents' house, and that was like 15 years ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's technically still there, and I still technically have crates and crates full of records and 45s, and I don't know if my turntables still work or not.
Oh.
So I do have a bunch of records that may or may not warped.
Nice.
But yeah.
I know somewhere in my like personal belongings box that's like tucked in the attic, I still have my old like cassette mixtapes from the radio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I still got those somewhere, and I'm pretty sure I still have. Yeah, I definitely do. My VHS copy of Ninja Scroll anime.
Oh, man.
It was like the first anime that I purchased back when VHS were still being sold.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to get rid of it.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, right. Nice. And that is all the time we have for this episode. Time for end of show plugs. You can follow me, Anthony Rossi, on Twitter, Instagram, Xbox One, Twitch, and now I'm on PS4, all at Hypersyntax. That is HYP3RSINT4X. Or you can follow the podcast directly either on Twitter at VGXTPod or on Facebook at facebook.com/Videogame Crosstalk. This podcast is hosted directly on Podbean and can be found at videogamecrosstalk.podbean.com, or you can go to the website directly at videogamecrosstalk.com, and I've started to put in some blogs up. One in particular that I've had to go back recently to for some conversation examples was A Tale of Two Twitter Conversations, Why Professionalism Still Matters. It's quite the funny discussion I had, and both these conversations happened within a month of each other, and the juxtaposition of them, the comparison of the two is just ridiculous. I'm like, you just inspired me to write a blog post of why professionalism is still important.
Yeah, I remember Twitter.
Yeah. So, as for you, Ash, where can our beautiful listeners follow you around?
Well, I am on Twitter at VFX Blackout. That's I think that's right. I haven't actually seen my own Twitter handle. No, sorry, it's FX Blackout it's FXBL4CKOUT.
All right.
That's pretty much it. I don't have Instagram or any of that. Maybe one day. I don't know if I take enough pictures.
You can become one of the cool kids too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, Twitter's the best one.
Cool. All right. And finally, if you are a gamer or know a gamer that wants to talk some tech and science news, let me know. Do you know of some tech news you'd like to hear discussed? Do you have any other general questions that you'd like to hear answered on the show? Send an email to videogamecrosstalk@gmail.com and give me the deets of what's going down. Please don't forget to like, review, subscribe, and share this podcast all over your social media accounts, and we can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and most other podcast services. Thank you one last time for hanging out with us. Ash, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Awesome. And in the words of Handsome Jack, don't believe in yourself, believe in me, because I believe in you. Hey guys, me again. I just want to take a quick moment to thank everyone, like absolutely everyone who's ever liked or shared one of these podcast episodes. This episode, number 16, marks my 1-year anniversary of having this podcast, and it has been an amazing ride. All of my guests have been absolutely fantastic. I have learned so much doing this, both as hosting a podcast, doing a little bit of audio editing, and just in general, all the information that my guests have brought. It's been, I think I mentioned on one of the episodes actually, that I feel like I've been having a Mike Rowe type of experience where I know a little bit about this and that, but talking to professionals or people who work in specific industries or in certain aspects of stuff, I just learned so much from everyone that I've been able to talk to during this. So once again, this is my 1-year anniversary for this podcast. Thank you so much for all the support that everyone has given me, and I hope to continue this on. I have some things planned for the future, hopefully to keep this moving, and I can't wait to see where this takes me next. All right, peace out.